Hello everyone, welcome to my first live stream. This is Annette with ASCardDesign and I'm really glad you're here. If you're joining me, be sure to leave a comment in the chat. That way I know if this is even working, if you can hear me, if you can't hear me, let me know. I will do my best to keep an eye on the chat. And hi Lisa! and you know, I'll just keep an eye on the chat and we'll just see how this goes. Also, if you have questions about what I'm going to be doing today as we go along, put that in the chat. I'll try to answer the questions on the fly. But again, I am going to be creating 2 cards today. So if I don't get to your question, rest assured when the live is over, I will go back and look at all the comments, answer all the questions. So we're going to be using copy paper in today's card tutorial, and I'm going to transform regular copy paper into images that have like a glassine effect or a transparent effect. And this was, I saw this technique on another YouTube channel, and I want to give credit. The inspiration video came from Paper Crafting with Lou Collins, and she did this technique with one of her products, which was an embossing folder that has a die integrated in the embossing folder. So when you run the paper through, it embosses the image and cuts it. But she said you can also do it with stamped images, which is what I'm going to demonstrate today. So I did put a link in the description below to her channel, her YouTube channel. So check her out. She has amazing techniques. And so without further ado, let's go down to the worktop and we're going to get started here. So let me get my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. Hey 3D Printed Lures, that's my brother Jim. And my brother Mike is here too. So hello everybody. And I hope you can all hear me okay and see me. All right. So the products, most of the products I'm using today are Gina K Designs products. And I'm going to be using this stamp called Blooming Butterfly. And I did get the coordinating die because I want to be able to cut this out. So, and I'm using a Misty stamping tool or stamping platform, which is a great tool to have. So what I have done is I've taken some regular printing copy paper and I've just cut it down to quarter sheets. And the first thing I want to do is stamp my image and stamp and ink them. And I'm going to show you 2 ways. All right, so I'm going to put my paper into the platform and I'm going to take my stamp out. We're going to make 2 cards today, so at the same time. So this is really, really cool. So I just want to put my stamp somewhere on the paper and I want to pick it up. And then for the first technique, let me set this out of the way. I'm going to use inks right onto the stamp. All right, so I'm going to be using Gina K Designs Premium Dye Ink, and this color is called Warm Cocoa. Hi, Darlene, I see you. I'm glad you figured it out. I'm glad you're here. Darlene is a very old friend of mine. We go back, not that she's old, but we've been friends for a long time. School days. So I'm glad you're here, Darlene. Thank you so much. And we're also going to be using Simon Says Stamp VersaFine Clair, and this color is Nocturne. So what I want to do is first I want to take the ink and I'm just going to ink the central part of the stamp. So like the body and maybe a little bit out. It doesn't have to be precise. Like you can just ink it up however. And that's what I like about these techniques is no 2 images will come out the same. And the nice thing about the stamping platform is when you have to re-ink and stamp more than once, which is going to be the case here, the stamping platform keeps your stamp in the same position. So you can ink it up again. I want that a little bit darker. And it doesn't matter, again, if it's in the same exact spot or not. It doesn't matter at all. And I just want to give that a good press. Okay, so that's my first color down. That's the Warm Cocoa. All right, and then I want to take I have all kinds of inks on my desk here. So actually, let me get these out of the way for right now. Then I want to take my next color and I want to focus on the outer edges of the stamp. So this is the VersaFine Clair in Nocturne, and I'm just going to ink up the outer edge of the stamp. Again, you do not have to be very precise, but just get that ink down. And I want to welcome everybody. Darlene, I'm old, it's okay. Oh, we're all getting older, but you know, it's just a state of mind, right? And let's see, I do have some ink on the platform, but I don't think it will transfer, and it doesn't matter really for this because we're going to be die cutting. All right. So let's go ahead and clean off our stamp. And here I'm using a tidy towel from Gina Designs. It's kind of like a chamois, and it's just dampened, and it cleans off the stamp really, really nice. So I just want to clean that off, and I'm going to leave my stamp there because we're going to do one more. Remember, we're making 2 cards today. So for right now, I'm just going to set this aside so it can dry a little bit. And then I want to set this aside because I want to show you another way you can add color to your image. So here I'm going to pull, I'm actually just going to use these 2 colors. These are also Gina K inks. This one is Sunkissed Coral and Butterscotch. All right, so I'm going to bring in a couple blending tools, and these are just brushes, and you know, they get inky and you don't need to wash them at all. What I do is, and I've already done it before the video, is you just take a paper towel and brush it and get whatever ink is on here from a previous project, just get most of it off. And as long as you're in the same color family, you're fine. So I am going to, let's see, let's pull in my ink stand here. And we're going to use let's use the Sunkissed Coral first. I want that in the middle. And so we're going to put some ink down on this paper, and then we're going to stamp on it. So this blending does not have to be perfect, okay? Age is just a number. I know, Darlene, I know you love butterflies, and I actually thought of that when you mentioned you were going to be here. I'm like, oh, this is perfect because I'm doing a butterfly technique, and I know you're gonna love it. All right, so I'm just gonna put this color into the center of the cardstock. Or it's not even cardstock, it's copy paper. I keep saying cardstock because that's normally what I'm using. And just get the color down. It does not have to be perfect. And then I want to use the Butterscotch, and we're just going to get this color down all the way around. And we're going to be inking with the black ink over top of this. I really appreciate my brothers being here because neither one of them make cards. My brother Jim makes fishing lures, and his name right there, 3D printed lures. You can go to his YouTube channel. I know he's on other platforms as well, so you can check him out. All right. Okay. So then we will go back to the platform, and this is the same size paper as the other one, so we can just put it right up in the corner, and you can see that butterfly will kind of hit where the color is. However, I did not get much color out here on the outer edges, so I'm just going to go back in, go back, get my yellow out, or my, what's this called, Butterscotch, and I just want to bring that out a little bit wider. I'm just going to hit this down here too, just for good measure. Looks like a mess right now, but it'll be nice when we're all done. Okay. Can you all see what I'm doing okay? Lisa. Yeah, he actually gives me props on his 3D printed when he goes live, which, you know, I don't know how many people that fish are interested in watching what I do, but, you know, maybe somebody that they're with likes this. But that's how I got started with card making. I just came across a YouTube video. I've never made a card in my life, and it was a couple years ago, and I saw a technique. It just caught my attention, and I watched it, and I thought, well, that's pretty cool. And I started watching other videos, and then I thought, well, I'm going to give this a try. And here I am. Thanks, Mike. I'm glad it looks good. Let's see. Susie. Hi, finally figured it out. You're doing great. Oh, thanks, Susie. I appreciate you here. And if you all want more information on any of the supplies I'm using, the inspiration video from Lou Collins, I have links in my description. Just, you know, click on more in the description below. Just click on more, and you might have to click on it twice. I don't know, but it'll pull out the full description, all the supplies I'm using, the card measurement, and, you know, the photo credits and just different links. The links to the jewelry I am wearing today from Ryan Gardner. Oh, I know that can come in focus. Come on, camera. Oh, I don't know. All right, well, let's continue. But anyway, there's links to all of that. Okay, I'm going to stamp this one more time with black. Okay. And that looks pretty good. All right. So then I'm going to clean off my stamp. It is important to clean your stamps off, you know, right away. You want them ready to go the next time, and you really don't want to scrub. And I'm just wiping them down with water, like a dampened cloth. So let's go ahead and put this guy away, because we are done with him. Now we're going to let's take this out, and I think we're done with this stamping platform. So let me set that down, and then we're going to die cut both of these images out. So I have the coordinating die, and here is the die for the butterfly. Let me grab some of these inks that I'm done with and get them out of the way. And then I'm going to bring up my die cut and embossing machine, and it is a Big Shot, Sizzix Big Shot. So it's a little clunky and takes up a lot of room, but it's a necessary tool in the craft room. Hi, Ashley. Oh, my niece is here. Glad you're here, Ashley. Thank you for joining in. All right. So this is a die cutting and embossing machine, and we're going to die cut these images right now. So we're just going to line up the die and tape it down. So this might take me just a second, and I know it's not really in the camera view, but I have to make sure I have good eyes straight down on it so it cuts perfectly. And that looks good to me. Okay. I need to pull this down here. And then you just run it through. Thanks, Susie. I like the colors. I like the colors too. All right. So that's one. Okay, but we are not done yet. Because right now this is just a piece of copy paper, but we're going to transform this so it becomes transparent. All right, so I'm just going to set that aside. And I'll do my best on this camera to show you the transparency once we get it done. That's the next step. So let me get this one die cut. Just take your time and line it up, because, you know, it's not the end of the world if you don't get it right the first time. You just start over. No big deal. I've had to do that several times, but you get tired of starting over after a while, and you just make sure you get it right the first time. Okay. All right. Then This is the second butterfly. So it's kind of, my camera is not really focusing. It was doing a better job earlier. There we go. Maybe I could have done more orange in the middle, but it's okay. I'm going to just go with what we have here. And so now I want to, let me put my die and my stamps, those away. I think we're done with this part. Okay. Now the magic happens. So I want to take, I'm just taking a plain piece of copy paper, and the next step for each of these is we're going to add embossing ink, and here I'm going to use Simon Says Stamp Clear Embossing and Watermark ink, and we're going to be using clear transparent embossing powder. Okay, and I don't even know what brand this is. I just picked it up at my local craft store. I've had it, I think, since the beginning of my crafting journey, so I've had it for a while, and we are going to use that. So what you do next is we're going to apply powder to each side of these images. We're going to start with the back, and we're going to do one at a time. Let's do the first image first. So this is the one we did first. Okay. That one, and we're going to flip it over. And for this, you're going to need the embossing powder, your ink, and then you're going to need a heat tool. So I have that handy and ready to go. So that will melt the powder, and then you'll see the process beginning. So for this, we're just going to apply the embossing ink right onto the back. Okay, just get it good and inky. Then we're going to add the powder to the back of it, and I do want to use some reverse tweezers just so I can grab it. Right there's good. Now this side we just stamped it with some ink, so I don't want to pour the powder on here because it's going to stick to the ink. So I'm just going to flip this over, and we're just going to pour the powder all over this image. Okay, and then we just tap it off. You can even do it again if you want good coverage. Alright, I'm just going to set that there for a minute, and then this can be funneled right back into the jar. And then I'm going to brush this off in my wastebasket. And then I'm flipping it back over before I forget to the inky side, because we're going to do that process again. So let's go ahead and pull in a heat tool. And I'm using Ranger's Heat It. And I think I can talk over this. I don't think it's very loud, but I'm going to turn it on to heat it up. Ah, Darlene, you like that, huh? Interesting process. Yes, it is, Mike. But we're not done yet. Alright, so let's go ahead and melt this powder. And I don't know if you can see, but right now it's white. But as it melts, you're going to see the color come through from the other side, because it's the first step in the process of making this paper transparent. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to repeat the process on the other side. So you can see this side is not inked, but you're able to see the back side of the ink from the front. Okay. And I'm just tipping it to make sure it's shiny, because that means all the powder is melted. So you can see now it has a shiny finish. All right, and it's a little sticky right now, so it only takes a few seconds. And once that is cool, which it already is, I'm going to flip it over. We're going to repeat that process. So we're going to ink this side up. And then let's get that on there. Put the powder on. What do you guys think? Pretty crazy, huh? Isn't that cool? It is cool, Susie. Oh, Darlene, yeah. Honestly, I saw this on a video. I cannot take credit for this technique, but I put her link to her video in the description, but Lou Collins has a YouTube channel, and she does amazing techniques with paper crafts, and I just never even heard of this before, so I just thought it was pretty cool. All right, so we're going to melt this side. Get my heat tool. It already cooled down, so there we go. Can you see that changing? Yeah, I think you can see it on camera. It gets kind of a darker color when it's melted. And I'm going to try to pull this up to the camera so you can see. Yeah, that's so cool. All right, let me give that a second to cool off, and then I'm going to try to show you. Let's see if I can get this in focus. So, without camera glare. I don't know if you can see, but oops, there's some powder right here on the tip that I didn't melt. Let me hit that again. If you see any white, that means the powder did not melt. So you just hit it again. So I don't know if you can see. This is going to be really tough. Bear with me. I'm just trying to get the right angle that is not going to show glare. And I don't think I can do it. But anyway, this, trust me, this is a transparent image. I can run my finger underneath it and I can see my finger. I really wish I could capture this on camera. There, you see on the left, this part of the wing, watch that part and you can see my finger under there. So that's really cool how that transforms copy paper to make it transparent. All right, so we have one more. I don't even know what side I'm on anymore. I'm actually going to start with another piece of paper because I don't want to get it all messed up. So let's do the same process to this image. We're going to start with the back, get the embossing ink on it. Okay. Get that on there. I feel like I need a little bit more ink on this guy. Oh, thanks, Susie. I'm glad you could see that. It's really, sometimes it's hard to pick up the detail on camera. Darlene, I think you're going to like this one because of all the colors. But I should have done, when I was practicing this was the color combo I used, but pinks and purples would look amazing with this butterfly. Especially because it has like flowers in it. And you know, you don't have to limit to 2 colors. You can really do whatever you want. But this is one of my favorite stamps from Gina K. Really like it. Good. I'm glad it shows up really well. Okay, so let's melt this powder. It's interesting that each time this heat tool cools down pretty fast. And can you guys hear me okay through when the heat tool's running? Or should I keep my mouth quiet when it's running? It is like magic, Jim. There is no doubt in my mind that yeah. Okay, thanks you guys. Thanks Jim and Ashley. You guys can hear me okay. Super important, huh? I think I missed a spot actually, so I'm actually glad that happened. This spot right here, it somehow did not take the ink, so it's cool enough. I'm going to go ahead and just ink it again. And put more powder on it. Flip this over so I keep powder on one side only. Oh, my desk is a mess. I got powder everywhere, but you know what? We'll wipe it off in a minute. Ashley, that's how I felt the first time I ever saw any paper crafting. I was just amazed, and I don't know, I really enjoy it. It's a good decompress after my day job. All right, Jen, we'll see you later. Thanks for joining. Hopefully you can come back. I'll be here for a little bit. Okay, so now we have shine all the way across that image. Okay, so I just want to wait till that cools for just a second. Like I said, it does not take long. It's already good, so we will go ahead and hang on one second. I want to take a little towel. Let me grab this. I have powder everywhere, and I need to get rid of it. Before it goes into places I don't want it to go to. Okay. I can put that over there. All right. So we have the back side treated. Now we want to do the front. Okay. So we're going to ink up that side. I think my ink pad might need re-inked. It's usually really sticky, which means it's good and saturated, but I'm feeling like I have to press a little harder this time. Okay. All right. This would be good craft idea for the kids, huh? Anybody with younger kids or teens? Maybe not. I don't think they'd be into this. I probably wouldn't have been as a teen. At that age, they kind of want to do their own thing. Be with their friends more than with parents. All right. Oh, Susie, how long does the ink pad last? Well, I've been using this one quite a bit lately, so I think the more you use it, obviously, the quicker it goes through. But I've had some of these inks, like this one that I'm going to be using up here next. I've had this for quite a while, and they do last. I don't know, they last for months. But they do, any ink pad, no matter what the brand is, they do have re-inkers, and you just squirt the ink on and let it soak in, and you're good to go for many more months. So that's how that works. All right, what do we have? Let's see, darling. Stunning. The colors just pop. Gold powder would look. Yes, oh yes. And I can do that in another video, but I love gold embossing powder. And when you stamp an image and then put the embossing ink on top and a gold embossing powder, you can actually ink over embossing powder and it resists the ink. So if you're not a good colorer, you can just emboss first and then color and wipe it off the embossing ink, and it really has stunning results. Okay. I don't want to touch these right away because they're sticky. And anyway, that is, let's see here. I'm really bummed that this isn't working. And again, I missed a spot. I'm not paying attention. Let me powder that up. Let me just heat that up again. There we go. Okay. I'll touch it over here where I know it's cooler. But there you go. That I don't know why my camera's not. It's supposed to really focus. There we go. So, and again, it's hard to pick up camera, but you can see, I can see my finger under there. I know you guys can see that. Yeah? Let me know. So yeah, this technique makes the paper transparent. Okay, I'm gonna set that aside. I don't think we're done with that yet. So the next thing I wanna do is, let me just set this aside. I'm going to bring in some regular cardstock. we're going to make the backgrounds for these cards, and then we're going to put it all together. So I have a couple background stamps. I'm going to do, let's do this one first. This background stamp, it's called Elegant Script Background. And it's kind of hard to see with the plastic on it, but take that off. It's really hard to see, but it's scripty, and you'll see once I stamp it, you'll see it better. And then I have 2 pieces of cardstock that are 1/4 inch size, and I really feel a lot of powder on my desk, so I really need to get that picked up. So I'm just going to spray some rubbing alcohol on my surface, and I'm going to take a paper towel. If I don't do this now, it will be bad on the next next technique here that we're going to do. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and we'll take our cardstock, and we're going to use, like I said, we're going to use that scripty stamp for the background, but first we're going to use this stencil from Gina K, and it's called Water Droplets, and I want to do some ink blending on this cardstock. So I'm just going to put that down, and I might even, I don't think I need to tape it, but we are going to tape the stencil down on top. And for that, I'm just going to use some mint tape. Mint tape is a brand that it holds things down, but if you're using paper or paper crafting, it will not rip your paper or cardstock when you pull it up. So I really like that. And I'm going to go in with this ink, and this is called Soft Stone. And let's go ahead and get a gray. I'm going to get a gray blending brush. And I'm just going to ink it up, and I'm not going to go, oh good Mike, I'm glad you can see the transparency. Good, good. Darlene, it makes you happy. Yay! Alright, so blending, I'm just going to go in circular motions, and I want to start off the cardstock. So, you know, you want to, if you start on the cardstock, you could put a, I don't know if you can see that, probably not, but you'll put like a blob of ink, and it's hard to blend that out. So just come in off of the cardstock. And I really want this just to be subtle. So it may not look like much, but once we remove the stencil, you'll see it. So we're going to actually do a double process on this. We're going to ink blend on this stencil, and then we're going to stamp the script on top of this. We'll remove the stencil actually, and then we'll stamp the script on top. And I really like the effect that that creates. And you can, you know, you can make this as heavy or as light as you want. I'm going to end it right there. And I'm just going to lift that stencil up, and then you can see the color. Isn't that cool? Okay. Then, the next step in this process is the big stamp, and I think what I'm going to do is I do need to bring out my platform again, because we're not done with the heat, with the embossing and powder and all of that. We're still working on all that. So let's just pull this stamp away from the packaging. Okay. And we're just going to position our card in here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to tape this down because we're going to die cut this panel out anyway. So we can tape the edges, it won't matter. I'll just get it up as close to the edge as possible. Then we want to take this stamp and make sure it's going the right way. And it's really hard. It's impossible for me to show you on camera. It's really hard for me to see. But let's go with, I think this is the right way. But if it's upside down, we'll just flip it. Okay, and we're just going to set that down. Okay, just carefully pick up the stamp, and then I do want to press it down just to make sure it's staying put. And then we're going to ink that up with the same color. Are y'all still with me? Uh-oh. I think stamping the background might take the longest, but once we get this done, the cards really do come together. And then just press it down. And I don't know if you can see, you can kind of see that script there. Okay, but I'm going to stamp it one more time while we're here. Okay. And if you wanted, I was going to emboss, I was going to put some embossing ink on top of this. Good. Glad you're still here, you guys. I was going to put some embossing ink on top of this and then more powder, but I'm not going to do that because you've already seen me do that once. So we're just going to leave this panel as it is. Mesmerized. Ashley! Aww! It's kind of cool. Alright, so the first panel is done, and I'm going to pair this with this butterfly eventually. So let's just let that dry for a second. And honestly, it takes a second. There's so little ink on these that it does not take long. But I'm going to clean off my stamp, and we're going to do the background for the other card in a different color and a totally different stamp. So let me get this on here. Hopefully that's the right way. It really doesn't matter. It's just, I like to protect it. And then let's go ahead and do this again. We will go ahead and tape this down. And then this stamp, this is really cool. This is kind of new to me, but I love it. It's called Beautiful Patterns, and from Gina K. And it's one big photopolymer stamp with 4 different designs, and it's really, really cool. So let's go ahead and get my muscles going and get this thing off. Ugh. All right, and then, you know, you can position it any way you want. I really like this. I don't know. I'm just going to put this up here. This card just needs to stick. It needs to stick to the platform because I want to stamp it probably more than once. All right, and then we'll pick it up. I just want to make sure this is down. Make sure your stamp is secure. And now we're not going to use the gray or the soft stone. We are going to use, let's do this Blue Sky. Gina K Premium Dye Ink in Blue Sky. Alright, so we're going to ink that up really, really well. I may only need to do it once since this is a darker color, but we'll see. We may do it twice. Okay, it's actually the same color as my shirt sleeve. Alright. Yep. Now you can see, you know, I stamped it once. There's some misses. That's why these platforms are very nice for card making, especially, or, you know, paper crafting, because if you're doing any kind of stamping, you want to be able to stamp twice. If I was using an acrylic block or a rubber stamp and went down and up, it's impossible for me to hit it in the same exact spot to do a second stamping. That's just not happening. All right. So I want to put that down again and really make sure I'm hitting the spots that did not get ink before. Yeah, that's good. So isn't that kind of fun? I really like it. Okay, so let's clean that off. There's so many fun things you can do with this particular stamp. You could mask off some of these and do like 4 different colors. You know, you can mask off the areas that you don't want the color and just, you know, do 4 different inks. All right, let's get this guy put away. Okay. don't even know where the top went for that, but we'll find it. If you could see behind me, I was telling my brother, Mike, who's here helping me, I call it the crafter math. My floor has everything that when I'm done with it, it goes behind me on the floor. Because my table is 4 by 3. It's a very small space. So I don't have room for a lot of things on here. Okay, so that is that. So let's bring back these panels, and now the next step was we're going to die cut these panels. We're going to trim them down, and then these cards are going to come together. So let's do a couple things. I'm going to be using, again, from Gina K. I'm using a lot of her products today. Gina K Designs Master Layouts 2. Now, her master layouts, I think she's up to 18 or 19 now. But they're a series of different kinds of dies. Some of them cut panels and shadow layers, greeting banners. Some have circles, hearts. There's many different kinds. And you don't need these to make cards. I didn't have these for the longest time. I would just use a paper trimmer and cut my panel down to whatever size I needed, and my card mat to whatever size. I would just use a paper trimmer. But these are kind of nice to have. It was a splurge for me. And I like these because, for example, in this master layouts, her different designs, there we go. I'm sorry about the light glare, but they have stitched edging on some, and some are plain, and that's what I want. I want this stitched edge die. I want to use that. Okay. All right, so let's cut these out using Master Layouts 2. So I need my embossing machine again, and we are totally done with inks and powders. We're done. So let's get the Big Shot back up here. This thing is a workhorse. This was one of the very first craft tools I bought 2 years ago, and it's still going strong. It's really heavy. All right. So since everything is very small, I'm going to just line this up here on the table. And the nice thing about the dies is you can crop it wherever you want. But since this one's kind of symmetrical, I'm going to try to get where they meet here in the center of the die. And I'm just going to eyeball it, you know. These are handmade cards. They don't have to be precise or perfect. I don't think anyone that I've sent a card to has taken out their ruler and measured for exactness. But if they did, that wouldn't hurt my feelings. All right. So here's that mint tape, what I was telling you earlier. It does not pull away from the cardstock. Okay, let me see if I can get this camera to work. Let's focus. See the stitch edge along the edge? I love that. That's why I like this die. Okay, I think you got it. So let's do the same for this one. This is one of my favorite techniques for panel stenciling, and then using that script on top. I really, really like that. Okay. Whoops. Did you hear that? I just smacked the other end of the embossing platform to my light ring arm. Okay. So here we have this panel with the stitching. All right, so we got both panels, and we're done with this for good now. Okay, so now what I want to do is bring these butterflies back in, and we got our panels that the butterflies are going to go on. And I have a couple shadow layers, which the panels will go on. This is an easy way to make 2 cards. And then we will glue these onto the card bases. So what I want to do next is let's just glue the panel onto the matte layer. And we'll go ahead and get that down. And here I'm just using some liquid glue. This is, again, a Gina K product called Connect Glue. Ryan says he wishes the metal die cutter was that easy. Oh, yeah. So Ryan, Susie's son Ryan makes high-end designer jewelry, or maybe even any end designer jewelry, but he's very talented and takes raw metal and stones and just creates beautiful jewelry. And like I said earlier, these two are a couple of his designs. They were not coming in focus earlier, but they did the other day when I had my camera. There we go. I don't know, my camera's being funny today. All right, so that's the one, and then let's go ahead and get this on. And I really like, my favorite thing is the black background matte. No matter what I'm doing, I just feel like the black cardstock for the matte layer really helps the colors on the panel pop. All right. Okay, so then the next step for these guys is I just have this, it's like a scoring tool, and I'm just going to use the edge of it because it's a little bit rounded, and it's perfect for these butterflies because I want to set it right on the body, and then I want to crease up each side because this is going to let our butterfly rest up onto the card. Okay, so I'm going to do that for both and just do that now, but before I glue it on, and I'll show you here. I'm getting ahead of myself, but before you glue anything down on your panel, get it on your card base because you want to be able to flatten it down. So I have two prepared card bases, and these are just a sheet of 110-pound cardstock. All right, and then you just cut it in half at the 4 1/4 line, and then you score it 5 1/2. Fold it over. And then go ahead and glue these down. I always put a smile face on the back of my glue. And then I just eyeball it. I just make sure I have even margins all the way around. And this is why I said you kind of want to do this before you start adding things on. Or at least that's how I do it. Especially if something has dimension. Okay, get that down. Oh yeah, I think those would be beautiful art to frame and put on a wall. Yeah, I agree too, Susie, and my brother agrees with you too. Okay, so let me just recrease these. Ashley, are you still hanging? Are you still here? Because I hope you are. I want you to see this final. And so I'm just adding the glue to the back center. That's the only thing that we're going to glue down. Okay, and then we're just going to let that sit for a minute. This glue will adhere rather quickly. We'll just get these down and then add our sentiment, and then these cards will be done. Right. Okay, we're going to do the same for that. Ashley, I sure am. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. So look at these. Aren't they cool? And these, you can see that. I can see my finger going through that. That's copy paper. Now it's transparent paper. Just by using embossing powder and heating it. And the butterfly has movement. I mean, these are just so cool. And then here's the other one that we had the color to, and you can see the transparency there and the dimension. Love it. Okay. All right. So to make it very easy today, you know, a lot of times I will stamp a sentiment or die cut it, but I have these pre-sentiments. They are from Gina K Designs, surprise, and they're called, they come in a sheet like this, and they are called sentiment sheets, and these are called mixed messages, and they come with, you know, white background, back lettering, black background, white lettering, and they just have different, this one says, you know, it's mixed messages, so it's congratulations, thank you, with sympathy, hello friend, birthday wishes, thinking of you, and that's what I'm doing. So just to make things super, super easy, I'm going to take my reverse tweezers that have a ton of powder on them, get that off of there, and we're just going to do the thinking of you, get some glue on there, and let's put that one on this. And I've learned through card making, like when I first started, I would put greetings, and you can put them anywhere. You can put them anywhere. But you know, I like to connect them to the focal point. So, you know, closer to the focal point. So I'm going to set mine right about here. And I'm going to meet up this edge with the matte layer. You know, the beauty with liquid glue is you could pull it down just a little bit more if you want, which I do. Okay, so there's that, thinking of you. Sorry, all the light glare, all these lights going on in here. And then the birthday wishes, I might just, you know, I'll put this one down lower just so you can see the difference. I personally like them either way. So we're going to pull this one down a little bit. Okay. And there's both cards. All right. Okay. So I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. You know, I enjoyed showing it to you, and thank you for being here. I really appreciate your comments, and hope you join me again. I'm going to try to do live streams on random Saturdays. I just don't know if they'll be every Saturday at this point, but I do post a regular video every Wednesday at 1 p.m. and that just automatically comes up on my YouTube channel. So be sure to give me a like, and if you subscribe to my channel, you will get a notification when I do go live or when I do post the videos. So spread the word. I would love to have more people join. I do love teaching these cards. I love making these cards. So I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Darlene. Thank you to my family, Ashley, Mike, and Jim. I don't know if anybody else was on here. I certainly hope I don't miss anybody, but I will go back and look at comments. If there were any questions I didn't see, I'll make sure that I respond.
Yeah,
so
show the back of the cards.
Oh, I want to also...
And open them up.
I also want to show you one thing before I go. Let me go back to the table. Actually, let's just do the table view. You don't need to see my circle cam. Anyway, so I want to also show you, if you do make cards and have a label, or a logo, stamp it on the back. I don't know, my camera, there we go, ASCardDesign.com. You know, that's my website. But I usually leave the insides of my card blank because I like to handwrite personal note. But I do have stamps that, you know, like my granddaughter is turning 13 soon, and I do have inside stamp on hers. But most of the time I do leave them blank for the cards that I sell at the local stores. You know, I just keep those blank. Because, you know, it's just so it's a personal message on the inside, and I just like the simple cards with the simple greetings on the outside. But anyway, that is how I do it, and thanks again, and until next time, make it a great week.